Am I the asshole for bullying my cousin? My F17 older cousin, Nora, F26, is getting married. A few weeks ago we were all talking about what we are gonna wear for her wedding, and one of my cousins, Sarah, F15, showed us a picture of her dress. It was a wedding dress. It was white, long, and basically a typical wedding dress. Everyone tried talking to her, asking her to please not to wear it, but she wouldn't listen. Her parents also took her side. For the next few days everyone tried to convince them to get another dress, but they refused. As she is the youngest member of our family, she gets away with pretty much everything, so they finally gave up and decided to let her wear it, but Nora was very upset. She didn't want to make drama, especially because no one was on her side anymore, so me and my other cousins decided to fix this. Last night when our family gathered together, we all started talking in a way we knew Sarah could hear us, and we mocked her dress and made fun of her for wearing a wedding dress at someone else's wedding. The whole time we were laughing and mocking her until she had tears in her eyes and told her parents she doesn't want to wear it anymore. She went home but texted me and told me I am an asshole for doing this to her and bullying her. I kinda feel like an asshole, but I think I was justified, so am I the asshole? Not the asshole. You saved her from huge public humiliation at the wedding. Not one of the groom's family or any of their friends would have let that slide. Not the asshole. You tried to fix the problem with the proper route. That didn't work, so you found a custom-tailored solution. Not the asshole. I think you and others clearly give warning multiple times. She and her parents didn't listen, and honestly Nora is probably do not want to cause drama by not inviting them. Since direct approach was ineffective, you used alternate method, which was, according to your own word, gossiping about actual truth, one that everyone else told not to do because it's like the most well-known taboo in wedding. I don't think that goes far enough to even give everyone sucks here rating. Not the asshole. This kind of behind-the-back talk would have happened for real at the actual wedding had she worn it. I was going with everybody sucks, but since you tried to reason with her and her parents, to no avail, I'll say not the asshole. Not the asshole. There are clearly some family dynamics here where Nora doesn't feel like she can stand up to Sarah's parents. Sarah is old enough to know this is bad form, and if she isn't old enough to know it, several people told her. Sarah is spoiled and Nora is being told not to rock the boat on what is supposed to be her special day. That's disgusting family dynamics, and OP recognized that injustice and saw a way to fix it. Sarah was trying to be a bully by ignoring the bride's wishes. You stopped her from doing that. Did you have to do it in an underhanded way? Sure. But it seemed like the prevailing family dynamics didn't allow for Sarah to be corrected in a healthy way. Am I the asshole for not wanting to name my daughter after my husband's deceased wife and daughter? My husband John, chapter 32 male, and I 30 female, got married 2 years ago. I'm John's second wife. His first wife Isabel died 9 years ago in a car accident driving to an appointment. At the time, she was 7 months pregnant with a baby girl who they planned to name Rose. Rose also passed in the accident. John wasn't in the accident, but he blamed himself for their deaths since he was working and couldn't get time off to drive Isabel. Obviously this was very traumatic and he had to go to therapy for a long time to recover. He still talks about Isabel sometimes and has pictures of her in the house. 5 months ago, I found out I was pregnant. It wasn't planned, but John and I were still extremely happy. A few days ago, I went to the ultrasound appointment and it was revealed we're having a girl. For the past few days, we've been throwing baby name suggestions around. However, he came to me this morning and said he finally knew what our daughter's name would be. Isabel as a first name and Rose as a middle name. I was taken aback for obvious reasons and asked him why. He looked at me weird and said that it was to honor his late wife and daughter. This was surprising to me since we've talked about having kids before and he's never mentioned wanting to name our kids after Isabel or Rose. I told him I wasn't comfortable naming our child Isabel Rose since it would feel like we were trying to replace them. He kept trying to convince me and said that it would be like his late family could live again through our daughter, but I just want our daughter to be her own person and to not feel like she's growing up in the shadow of 2 deceased people. John got mad and accused me of trying to force him to act like Isabel and Rose never existed. I said that wasn't true and that we would still talk about them and remember them with our daughter, but he said the best way to remember them would be to name our daughter after them. He also called me a hypocrite because I suggested my sister's name, my sister is alive, as a middle name. I said that was different because our child would still have her own unique first name and I only suggested it because my sister is planning on being a loving aunt. Finally he called me disrespectful of the dead and that he wasn't going to change his mind. He went to our room and hasn't come out. I consulted my family and friends, and while most of them agree I'm not the asshole, a couple of them are saying John is grieving and I should just let him name this kid and I can name the next one. One friend who's a therapist even said that this is John's attempt to ease his guilty conscience, and that refusing the name could make him spiral into self-loathing. I've also started to get Facebook messages from people I'm assuming are Isabel's family. John most likely told them about the situation, begging me to name my daughter after Isabel because they want another way to memorialize her. I hate to disappoint her family since they're grieving too, but I still don't want to. Am I being selfish? Edit. Hi everyone, thank you so much for the supportive comments. Even though I haven't replied to all of them, just know that I've seen them and I appreciate everyone trying to give me good advice and help me. I just want to answer a few questions here so everyone knows, and my sister who uses Reddit a lot said that people often edit their posts, so here goes. John hasn't ever really reacted this way to our disagreements. We've always talked them out, so that's why I was really blindsided by him just giving me the silent treatment. I think I have some similarities to Isabel, but I never really thought about it. We both have the same hair and eye color and we're about the same height, but our faces are completely different. The therapist friend is a friend of both of us and she wasn't John's therapist. Not the asshole. I think it's completely weird, plus the fact that his late wife's family is also messaging you is crossing the line. Your daughter is being used as a grief prop and she isn't even here yet. He kept trying to convince me and said that it would be like his late family could live again through our daughter. This right here is very unsettling. Not the asshole. Your daughter is a child, not a memorial to the dead. Not the asshole. Oh, hell no. Not the asshole. Why would anyone think it's okay to put that load on your daughter? Your husband needs to go back into therapy, just not your therapist friend. It seems you, Op, are the only one thinking of your child. Not the asshole. Your daughter is not a living memorial. Not the asshole. It is not your daughter's job to be a replacement toy. She needs to be her own person, with her own identity. Hubby needs therapy. Am I the asshole for telling our mutual friends the real reason I adopted a cat? I, 28M, recently agreed to foster a cat who I was told had massive behavior issues and was going to be taken to an animal shelter if I didn't agree. I expected spitting, hissing, biting, not litterbox trained, etc. Cat arrived with nothing to her name. Cat is 5 years old. No box, bowls, toys, food, nothing but a flea collar that was clearly months old and too tight. Cat was absolutely filthy. Ex-owner told me they couldn't provide money at the time for me to set the cat up, and I allowed it as I'd been told they were in a nasty financial position. We agreed to keep a tab of vet bills, food bills to be paid. As they are leaving, she mentions the case of white claws she stopped to pick up on the way. I was gobsmacked. I set about getting what the cat needed, and began to try to gauge its behavior. Turns out this animal is the sweetest, smartest, kindest being I've ever had the pleasure to know. Took cat to vet, and cat is incredibly ill and underweight due to neglect. Got her medical shampoo for her skin, antibiotics for the massive infection she has, and then called her ex-owner and told her to send me her microchip details as I would be keeping the cat. She says that's fine, cat was never chipped anyway. Doesn't pay anything bar $40 of the bills. 2 days later turns up at her job with hair and nails done. I sat on it for 6 weeks, and stewed, until I found out she had been speaking to someone about a kitten. I didn't embellish anything, I simply told 2 of my closest friends what happened and why the cat stayed with me. The truth spread like wildfire, and most people have now turned their back on her. My only intent was to stop her from getting another animal, not for it to end up like this. I feel like I could be the asshole because this has affected her work and friendships. So, am I the asshole? Edit. I just wanted to add that I've changed a few details like age, gender, location to give anonymity, as I don't want certain people reading this and getting SHTY. Not the asshole. This sounds like a person who should not be trusted with anything other than perhaps a cactus. Not your fault that people spread gossip. Not the asshole. TBH, I would take it a step further and contact the local shelters so they can hopefully put her on a do not adopt list. It's not being malicious. It's to protect other innocent animals from her abuse and neglect. Not the asshole. The cat's ex-owner neglected this little one, and likely, will do it with another one too. Your cat is lucky to have you. That's nice. Congrats on this little one. You are not the asshole. You are a wonderful person. Do you need any help with vet bills for this sweet cat? If so, I'll happily donate if you set up a GoFundMe. You can shout that from the rooftops and be good. She's an abuser. Please seek out, do not adopt, lists in your area and add her name. I work in cat rescue and people like that need baseball bat counseling. Thank you for being a hero for the kitty. Purrs to you. NTA. Not the asshole. Coming from a cat dad, that kitten would have died. You should be praised. Am I the asshole for kicking my husband out of the room until I give birth to our son? So I, 25F, gave birth to our son almost a month ago. My husband, 27M, is still pissed. My contractions were way more painful than I was expecting. The nurse, helping me, refused to give me an epidural, so it was only when I was moved to the actual labor room when a new nurse finally relieved some of the pain, and throughout all of this my husband was still on his way. Half an hour passes and after they fully settle me in, he arrives and brought me some flowers. While I was glad he got me gifts, I would have preferred he got there earlier, but the moment passed so I just forgot about it. He was joking around to try and make me feel better, and for most of my hours there it worked. After a while I was 8 centimeters and felt the need to push, but the nurses said I wasn't ready yet, so I had to consciously keep my body from pushing. This was the most hair-ripping, excruciating pain I have ever experienced. My husband went on, but after a while I said that he should stop, it was getting annoying and that I just wanted verbal encouragement. He loosely did it but made a whole joke out of it, like holding my hand but quickly making it into a dog and making it bark or stroking my arm, commenting on how I am soft like a marshmallow. I told him multiple times to quit it and how he was stressing and annoying me, but it never stopped, and within that time I went from 8 centimeters to 10 centimeters. So as the nurses got the doctor, I told him to stop and that if he continued to stress me out that I would ask him to be removed from the room until our son arrived. He agrees and the doctor came. Everything was ready. Pushing started and my husband decides, "You've spread your legs farther than that, you got this," was appropriate. With my stress being at an all-time high I lost it. I started screaming for him to leave, and since I was obviously in distress the staff helped get him out. The birth went smoothly, but unfortunately, my peace was short-lived. While our son was being cleaned up I was moved to a recovery room and my husband went off on me as soon as he came in. He was telling me that I was a bitch for not letting him see his son come into this world and that I was overacting since all he was trying to do was cheer me up, and I told him that I clearly said he was stressing me and I warned him of what was going to happen. He loses it. He starts screaming that it's unfair, that he can never have that moment back, and how the 9 months were not worth this experience. Security removed him from the hospital altogether since he was screaming, and all I got the 3 days I spent in the recovery room were pissed off texts just repeating what he said but in different words. Ever since our son and I got home he's been ignoring both of us. He has done nothing for our so this whole month, not even change his diaper. I tried getting him to talk but silence. He's staying at his friend's house and I'm at a loss. Am I the asshole? Edit. I've had the proper chance to read through comments now, and while I don't know what exactly I'm going to do yet, I understand that something has to be done about him. I still feel guilt, but regardless of what happened in that delivery room he's taking it out on our son and that's not okay. My mom and aunt are coming to stay with me to help, since honestly going through this all and dealing with my emotions alone with a newborn is getting really hard. I'll update you all on what I do. What happens, but sincerely thank you to the majority for giving me further advice and making some good points that I will bring up to him. I'll still read new comments since I'm still thinking about courses of action and what I'm even going to say, but the point is something is going to be done. I can't have my son grow up with this behavior. Less than 3. You are not the asshole. You warned him multiple times and he didn't listen. What he did was inappropriate and disrespectful. Yelling at you when you'd just given birth is, at the very least, bordering on verbal abuse, and the fact that it was so bad that he was removed by security for screaming cements that. Ignoring you and your son is also incredibly concerning behavior. I would get out. Major red flags. It doesn't sound like he respects you, and it doesn't sound like that is something that's going to change. Not the asshole. I hope you get the help you need. If there's anyone else you can stay with or get help from, family or friends, I would encourage it. Not the asshole. There is a time and a place for humor and jokes, and the moment you told him what you needed was the moment he should have stopped. At the end of the day, your safety and baby's safety is most important, and keeping you as stress-free as possible was the top priority. Humiliating you and refusing to give you the support you needed was one thing, but screaming at you in recovery and ignoring you and the baby is just wrong. His behavior is very concerning. Is there someone else you can stay with for a while? He needs to get some help. Not the asshole. He deserved to be thrown out, and the fact that he's literally ghosting you and your newborn son. This literally wasn't about him. Oh, he made damn sure it was about him, and he's continuing to do so. When I was in labor, my wife was an unimaginable level of help, so much so it was pain relieving and I felt so safe. I can't imagine the flip side and how awful that would be. You need to leave his man. He's shown for a month that he won't be there for either of you. Leave him. Holy fuck, not the asshole. This man doesn't understand how painful birth can be, and then he goes and makes it about him. Instead of understanding that his wife was in that much pain and agony, he decided to throw a fit to the point that security had to remove him? That's NUA. Location flag, location flag, location flag, location flag. Not the asshole, he wasn't in there for you. Everything he did was for himself. You literally told him that he was not helping, that he was in fact stressing you out. He was warned, but he didn't care. He's been ignoring both of us, he has done nothing for our so this whole month, not even change his diaper. Tell him to stay gone. If he's mad at you, right or wrong, it has nothing to do with your son. If he's so upset about missing the birth, you'd think he'd take any chance to be with said kid and bond. Instead, he's basically abandoned you and his son. Congratulations, and I hope you and Bub are doing fine. Totally not the asshole. You were literally going through the transition state of labor, where every woman loses her mind, and he wants to throw a tantrum. Like WTF? Are you sure you want to raise 2 babies? The adult you or the asshole one sounds more exhausting than the newborn.